Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Nick from Australia, and welcome to another stream for your Monday night, January 15, 2024. It is 9:01 p.m. here in New South Wales, Australia. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Welcome to another live stream tonight, and tonight's live stream is Are the Newcastle Knights a threat in 2024? I have a bit to say about Newcastle. I think, considering how good they were in 2023, finishing fifth on the ladder, now we're back to a new season that's coming up in 48 days. I want to see if these guys are going to back it up or if they're a legit force. Are they going to go from fifth to third, second, top four? Are they going to go from fifth to sixth? Are they going to be the same? Are they going to go from fifth to eighth, fifth to 10th, fifth to 12th, fifth to 14th? I'm so intrigued by the Newcastle Knights. I'm looking forward to talking about them with you all tonight. But as always, if you guys are brand new to the channel, don't forget to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I would really appreciate that. To everyone that's new around here, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Like the stream. Everyone that's always here, like the stream, guys. I would really appreciate that. And hello to the live chat. We are getting a nice crowd here. Hello to Bosky, Jim the Chooks fan, Devils _ Psy. I see York in the chat. It's all good, Nathan. Completely understand your personal situation. It's all good, bro. I'll do it solo. It's all good, bro. CJ Moxley is here. Cody's Footy World is here. Daniel Sexton, Jason Reeder, Daniel Bate, all the way from the UK, is here as well. Hello, everyone. And the other thing I want to mention just before we get into it, make sure you guys head over to NRL Lids. You can get yourself a very nice NRL cap of your team's choice. All you have to do is go on there. You can put in a nice 10% discount code of NFA. Get yourself an NRL cap and you get 10% off. Discount code is NFA. So make sure you guys head over to NRL Lids and get yourselves a cap. And last thing I want to mention before we get into it is if you guys want to buy yourself the first ever Nick from Australia t-shirt, head over to my YouTube community tab and you can click on the link. It'll take you straight to the website. Now, just note it is an American website, so it says about 18 Australian dollars, but when you purchase it, you'll be paying about 26 Australian dollars. The website's completely safe. I've already had a couple of people pick up the shirt and then it has delivered and they have been wearing it. So make sure you do go get yourself one of those t-shirts, Nick from Australia t-shirt. All right, let's get into it. The Newcastle Knights, are they a threat in 2024? I'm going to be upfront with you guys, as I always am, and I'm going to be as honest as I can. Are the Newcastle Knights a threat in 2024? I don't think they are. And I'm not here to criticize the Newcastle Knights fans and all that, because they deserve to be excited. Based on what they did last year, this is the most excited the Newcastle Knights have been in an extremely long time. I can't remember the last time Newcastle had this much hype and excitement about them. But I'm going to rein in on the parade and I'm going to say it isn't going to work. They're not a threat in 2024. I can't see this team competing in the grand final with the likes of Penrith. I can't see this team beating the likes of the Broncos. I just don't believe this team, this squad, is good enough for that level. Now, I don't want to base anything off last year because it is a new season, but because Newcastle went on such a big win streak and they were on a bit of a Cinderella story, we need to talk about last year just for a second here. So the Newcastle Knights went on this win streak. It started on the 2nd of July. Their last, and then once they started that win streak, the Knights, they didn't lose a game until September. And so if you have a look at it, right, they beat the Bulldogs, who were dog shit. They were bottom four, 66-0. They beat the Tigers, who were wooden spooners, 34-18. They had a very impressive win against a top four quality team in the Melbourne Storm, but we all know Melbourne were nowhere near the levels of Penrith and Brisbane, which was proven in the final series. But hey, at the time, Newcastle beating Melbourne was a big deal, and that was a big win for the Knights. So that put them up to a 3-game win streak. Then they went down to Canberra and beat the Raiders, which was impressive. And the Raiders, they were so hit and miss last year. It was an impressive, the way they won, the way they played that game and dominated, it was very impressive. Then they went to Perth and they just scraped past the Dolphins. They flogged the Dogs again. Then their last 2 out of 3. This is where Newcastle were tested. They beat the Rabbitohs in Newcastle, which I think cemented their spot in the top 8. Then they beat the Sharks in Newcastle. So they beat a South team that was out of form and fallen off an absolute cliff. Then they beat the Sharks. Now, the Sharks are probably the biggest finals frauds of the competition, and that is well proven. They haven't won a finals game since 2018. That's how much of a fraud Cronulla Sharks have been the last couple of years. Then they beat the Dragons last round after resting players. Then they make the top 8, which is incredible. They finished 5th. Remarkable run. They beat the Raiders in an absolute cracking game. Then this is where Newcastle really got exposed. They went over to New Zealand to take on a Warriors team that were pumped by Penrith in the first round. And a lot of people, you can go back and watch NRL 2023 semi-finals, tips, preview, predictions from all sorts of content creators on YouTube, TikTok, all over social media. So many people picked Newcastle to beat the Warriors in New Zealand. So many did it. I wasn't one of them. I thought, the Warriors over there, they'll be a little bit too good. They'll win 1-12. They won the game by 30. So after Newcastle had this phenomenal fairy tale, they lose to the Warriors by 30. Now, going into a new season, are the Newcastle Knights going to be able to back this up? Can they do another big win streak like 11 in a row, whatever it was, 12 in a row? Are they going to be able to do it? I've got my doubts. I don't think Kalen Ponga is going to be able to play that good again, that consistently. Now, people are going to say, oh, hang on, he won the Dally M. How can you say that? We all know the Dally M thing was an absolute joke. We know Sean Johnson was hard done by, but that's not the point. The point is, Kalen Ponga, before 2023, he was never consistently that good for a 12 to 13 week period. He was never that consistent. Newcastle have been struggling for a couple of years. There's been periods where they've had good seasons. Like if you remember 2021, they came 7th, I think. And in 2020, Ponga was very good, but he wasn't what he was in 2023. I just don't know if this squad is strong enough to really kick on and do it again. Like, all it takes is one hit to the head for Kalen. He's out for 4 weeks, and then Newcastle will probably lose a bunch of games. So they're not going to win many games without Kalen. Kalen Ponga in 2023 was very similar to what Jarryd Hayne was in 2019. He just carried Newcastle. Absolutely carried them. And it was impressive. But we're now going into a new season. They have lost a little bit of quality. I just don't know if I can back it up. I've got my Warriors, and I'm looking at their recruitment. Now, let's go through it. The main ones they lost. Dominic Young. Dominic Young is a huge loss for the Newcastle Knights. I can't comprehend to you how much of a blow that is. Dominic Young is a big loss, man. He's gone to the Roosters. Good for him. Dominic Young is a massive loss, man. He can score tries from 60, 70 meters on his own with a big step or a big fend a kick return. Dom Young's away. He can do that. Now they're going to go with Tom Jenkins, who they've recruited from Penrith, who I think's a really good player, but he ain't nowhere near a Dominic Young. They've lost Adam Clune, which I think is a little bit of a blow because he really filled in for Jackson Hastings and did a very good job for the Newcastle Knights when Hastings was out. So Clune's a bit of a blow as well. Lachlan Fitzgibbon, another one, another big loss. He's gone. He's heading over to Warrington in the Super League. I think he's a bit of a blow. Kurt Mann, who was their utility off the bench, he's gone to the Dogs. A couple of big blows, man. Lachlan Miller, who was the backup fullback, he's gone over to the lead Rhinos in the Super League. They've lost some quality here, Newcastle. They really have. Famuna Brown, who was a really good backup, jersey 14, can play in the halves and at hooker. He's another one they've lost. And now their recruitment, I think they've recruited okay, but I feel like the losses are bigger than their gains. I think they're going to replace Kai Pearce. They're going to replace Lachlan Fitzgibbon with Kai Pearce-Paul, which I think is a good thing. Now, I know Kai Pearce-Paul isn't proven in the NRL, but him coming over from Wigan, a winning system, he's going to play in the second row. He's a very good second row. He can also play in the centres if need be. I like the addition of Kai Pearce-Paul. He's also put on a bit of weight as well, which is, I think, even better. So he's going to replace Lachlan Fitzgibbon. But again, at NRL level, Kai Pearce-Paul's not proven. Chad Cartwright's going to come in. He's probably going to be a bit of depth. So he might be a bench, but he could replace Kurt Mann off the bench. Who knows? And we talk about Jack Cogger now. Now, Jack Cogger is a very, very fascinating addition to the Knights. I think with obviously the halves are probably going to be Gamble and Hastings. Jack Cogger, I think his name comes right into the mix. He could be starting 5'8". And for me, I feel like if Newcastle want to go anywhere in 2024, Cogger and Hastings are probably the best halves pairing for the Knights. I think that is the way to go. Go Cogger at 6, Hastings at 7. Gamble as a 14 could be good. He can play a few positions, Tyson Gamble, and I don't think Tyson Gamble is anywhere as good as Jack Cogger. So, bit of a desperate buy from Newcastle, but I do like the addition of Jack Cogger. Will Price, another one who can play in the halves and at fullback. Now, obviously, Will Price won't be at fullback because Kalen Ponga's there, and obviously it seems like Cogger, Hastings, and Gamble are the preferred options in the halves. Will Price might have to try a new position, or he might have to go play New South Wales Cup. And if you've been watching the Super League for as long as I have, or if you don't watch the Super League, Will Price came from the Huddersfield Giants. He is way too good for New South Wales Cup. If he plays New South Wales Cup, he'll be New South Wales Cup Dally M. And I don't even think that's a thing. So he's too good for that competition, man. Maybe Will Price can get loaned out to the Dragons, and then Will Price can come back to Newcastle in 2025 and reassess. Maybe the Dragons can get him on a 1-year loan deal. I don't know. I'm just thinking of options for Will Price here because he's too good for New South Wales Cup. Maybe Canberra can look at him on a loan deal. Canberra or the Dragons. So we'll see what happens there with Will Price. And then I guess the other recruitment they picked up was Tom Jenkins. Now, Tom Jenkins, he come out of that Penrith system. We've all seen him play a few games, especially in the State of Origin period. I think Tom Jenkins is now ready for first grade. I think he's going to be very good for the Newcastle Knights. But you know what I'll do? I would actually play Tom Jenkins in the centres and move Dane Gagai onto the wing. The reason being, Tom Jenkins has always been a really good young centre. He's had to play on the wing a few times because of opportunities in the NRL first grade level and whatnot. But Tom Jenkins' best position is centre. So, I mean, obviously he could play on the right wing for Newcastle, but I reckon Dane Gagai is not a selfish player. Dane Gagai is one of those blokes where I reckon he would move to the wing. So a young guy like Jenkins can develop into the centres. And to be honest, with Dominic Young not being there anymore, I think Gagai is probably the next best option for the wing because he can get the sets rolling. He does a great job. We've seen Gagai do this in State of Origin and when he's played on the wing at club level before, whether that be at Newcastle, Souths, Brisbane as a young fella. I think Gagai moving to the right wing, Jenkins into the centres would be the best thing for the Newcastle Knights. But I'll tell you this, I genuinely think that Newcastle, they've lost more than they've gained. And I think Dominic Young, it's such a big blow, man. For me, it's going to be interesting to see how the Knights go. Like I'm looking at their team and I think, okay, for me, they're nowhere near a top 4 team. Newcastle Knights, if you actually think, if anyone out there actually thinks you're a top 4 team, you're crazy. I get they came 5th last year, but last year is now irrelevant to the situation. It's a new season. Teams improve. So have Newcastle really improved? I guess they have a little bit in some areas, but Dominic Young is like a 12-point loss. He is worth 12 points in your team. He is worth 2 tries. That's a big blow. There's going to be a lot of pressure now on Greg Marzoo to stand up. Bradman Best is going to have to play a lot better now. And Gagai, this Tom Jenkins bloke is going to be under a lot of pressure as well because he's replacing Dominic Young. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on them. And, you know, expectation of Newcastle is probably top 8. If they don't make the 8, then Adam O'Brien's name will probably end up in the press and the media will talk him up. Should he be sacked? Blah, blah, blah. If Newcastle didn't go on this win streak, Adam O'Brien probably would have been sacked. So the win streak saved him. And the other question I do have, and it's a bit of a negative one, and I think a lot of people will probably agree with this. Can the Knights win away from home? Can they go to tough places and win? Because if you look at their win streak, how many games did they win away? The Dolphins away in Perth was good, but it's the Dolphins. They were really struggling at the time. I think they were on the back of like a 5-game losing streak, if not more. They beat the Bulldogs, who were a joke. Tigers at home, beat the Raiders, who were very mid. Beat Melbourne, Souths and Cronulla at home, but when they had to travel to New Zealand, they just did not look like a really good football team. So can Newcastle go to places like Melbourne, New Zealand, Townsville, fucking Allianz, Cronulla? Can they go to Penrith, tough places, and win? I don't know. I reckon they can for some of them, but you know, I've been hearing a lot of people talking about Newcastle for top 4, and that I just think you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. There's no way this team is top 4. I think, you know what? I'll tell you this. Obviously, I'm not going to reveal my ladder predictions yet. I'm going to announce that probably February 11, February 12, around that period. I'll probably do my NRL predictions probably 30 days before the season starts or 20 days before the season starts. Who knows? But for me, Newcastle Knights are a team that I can see finishing between 6 and 12. That's where I have them, between that range. So there's always about 6 or 7 teams fighting from 6 to 12. Newcastle, for me, are right in that bunch. They're right in there. But look, to be honest, I don't think they're any threat at all. I think they're a top 8 threat, but I don't think they're a threat to the premiership. I don't think they can compete with Penrith, Brisbane, you know, all the teams that were great last year. So we'll see what happens with Newcastle. It's obviously an exciting time for them. Obviously, they've got a lot of expectations. I would say this is the most excited Newcastle have been since Wayne took over in 2012. If you remember 2012, Wayne Bennett took over as head coach. And in 2013, they had another really good season. So this is probably the most excitement Newcastle fans have have been since 2012, 2013, since Wayne Bennett was the coach. So, I'm intrigued to see how the Knights go. I am really intrigued. But I've got them not as a threat in 2024, but I'm interested to see what they do. Adam O'Brien's a good coach, in my opinion. He doesn't deserve to be sacked or anything like that. His coaching record's been very good. 2020, 2021, 2023, 3 finals in like 5 years. He's done pretty well for himself. So, about 3 and 4 years, I think. He missed the finals once. That was in 2022. So, we'll see what happens with Newcastle. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to the donation as well from youngest heavyweight champion, which I think is Viking Axe with a new name, unless I'm wrong. But thank you very much for the $3 super chat. Knights vs Raiders, round 1. Can't wait. Yeah, all the best. Should be a good game. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Have a phenomenal Monday night. And I will be back tomorrow night with another live stream of some sort. You guys will probably see it on Instagram tomorrow at some point. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a great Tuesday. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Until next time, take care.